to Let's Make It Vegan. I'm Chef Fred, and today we're going to take on soft pretzels and beer cheese. It's Sunday. It's football season, finally, thankfully. So what better to go with watching your football game or some soft pretzels and some nice cheese to dip them in. So that's what we're going to work out today. Show you a little bit of how we're going to make the different things. We'll start with the cheese. I'm going to be making a cheese sauce. There are several ways that I've seen out there for making vegan cheese sauces. One of the things that I have come up with as an option to your normal cashew nuts. A lot of times people will, soak cashews and grind them up in order to make a cream. I've discovered that sunflower seeds work just as well, if not better, and cost about a quarter of the price. Sunflower seeds, buy raw sunflower seeds by bulk, they're basically $2 a pound. Cashews can run anywhere from 10 up. So what I did was soaked my sunflower seeds overnight in beer. That's going to help with softening them and bring more of that beer flavor into the cheese. Whenever you do make your beer cheese, you want a real beer. You want a beer with good malty taste in order to impart that into your cheese. You don't want a light clear beer lacking flavor. You want something with some maltiness and good taste. So get a good beer for that. Also, as far as soaking them in the beer is just going to add the flavor. Another thing that we're going to use as far as adding the cheesiness is our nutritional yeast. Of course, that's a big basic thing with making vegan cheeses is your nooch. Along with that, in order to get the texture a little more, I'd say, stringy and cheese-like without making it into a complete sauce, so it's a little more like a cheese, we are going to add tapioca starch. And this is going to go into the general mix whenever we grind all these things up in your high-speed blender. A high-speed blender definitely is going to be more important with this, so you get a good cream out of your sunflower seeds. Also, in order to impart color and some flavor, I'm going to use a Saison seasoning, and this basically has salt, garlic, some other flavors in there, but the most important things is that it contains annatto, saffron, and turmeric, all coloring agents that are going to help make this cheese look more like a cheese, give you that yellow orange kind of tint. Also, if you don't have saffron and you do have basically just turmeric is going to also help get that golden color in there. And of course, like everything else, I'm going to add garlic just because it needs it, just to add that a little bit of flavor to the cheese, just to give it a little boost. As far as what we're going to do with all this is put it in our high-speed blender, grind up the seeds first, and then go ahead and start adding the ingredients. We may, in order to thin it out, go ahead and add more beer. What we're going to have to basically do is take a look at the consistency, add a little more beer if we need to get that consistency, and then what we're going to do is basically pour it out of the high-speed blender into a pan, and we're going to get that heated up. One of the main things about getting it heated up is to activate this tapioca starch. It's going to act as a binder and help hold it together and make it more stringy and cheesy as that warms through. Plus, we want the cheese to be warm anyways when we're ready to start dipping our pretzels. As far as making the pretzels, we could go through making a dough from scratch. I almost did that. I started looking at some different recipes and thought, you know what, if I do that, that's an all-day project. And I don't think anyone wants to get into an all-day project if you're looking at making something in order to go and sit and watch a football game. So I'm going to show you a neat trick in order to make your soft pretzels. And what we're going to be using is already made pizza dough. It's a vegan dough where it's basically just flour, water, and yeast, which is pretty much the same things that go into a decent pretzel dough. So it's just a basic dough that we're going to cut into strips. We could form them into pretzels, you can form them into nuggets, whatever you want. But in the next segment, what I'm going to do is have the dough out. We'll show you exactly how we work with that. One of the other things that we are going to do is, and is very key to making pretzels and not breadsticks, is whenever the dough is in the form that you want it and has a rise on it, we're going to have it simmer for about 30 seconds on each side in water that has baking soda. What that does, it creates more of a base solution, base meaning opposite of acidic, which enables the dough to not only rise a little bit better, but enables it to brown, where you get that brown coating on there that looks more like a pretzel. If we didn't do this and we just went ahead and even put them in plain water or just bake them, all you're going to do is come up with a breadstick. So getting them in the baking soda water is very important. And then we've got our coarse sea salt to sprinkle on there, and of course, you know, you've got to have your pretzel with your salt on it. So that's what we're going to do, and I thank you for joining in, and we'll get back and I'll get out a board here and we'll start working with the dough, and I'll show you how we get that started. Okay, so here we are. Got a big tile out here to work on. Got my pans ready, and we're going to go ahead and get into this dough. And like I said, this is just a store-bought pizza dough that is actually even already rolled out. Most of your stores are going to have this kind of thing, I think. And we're going to get in here and get at this dough, and we're going to laugh at me working with this sticky stuff. And I think what I'll do here is get a little bit of flour down so we don't get sticking too much, and we'll get this guy down. And we don't really want to flatten this out anymore. We're going to work with it just the way it is. I'm going to get a little more flour on both sides, that way we're moving around nice and easy. So there we go. We're working with this guy. Now, you can cut this in any sort of shapes and stuff that you want. I am going to basically just start out making some strips. They don't have to be perfect, thank goodness, because I'm not. And we're just going to get some strips here to work with. Now, some of these smaller ones, you can go ahead and just let like it is. You can do a little twist on it, fold in the sides, something like that. Now, what we're going to want to do is we're just going to set these aside on our pan. You can use wax paper. This is a non-stick silicone sheet. You can take some of these longer ones, stretch it out a little, fold it, give a twist, get these down, and it's dough, so it's going to fight with you and want to go back into whatever shape it's in. But leave some space in these guys because they're going to be rising, and you may want to go ahead. We want to keep these in a decent size to be able to put in our pan whenever we do put them in the water with the baking soda. So we don't want to get too huge. So I'm just going to do a quick twist on these guys. I'm going to cut these larger ones in half. And you don't even have to do a twist on them because they're going to want to come apart and things by themselves. But if you can get them to stay this way a little bit, and this one here is too thick, we'll just go ahead and cut that guy in half. He's going to end up making a monster. like I said, these things are going to rise. And so the shape now isn't real important. And I'm going to go ahead and get our other sheet over here. And how we put them on here is not important. We can do 2 rows this way. And what you're going to want to do is get these guys into an area where it's nice and warm. It could take, depending on where you're at, it could take a couple hours to get these guys to rise. I'm lucky enough that we're in Florida and I've got 2 options. I've got an oven that has a proof setting that I could use, or it's Florida, and even though it's October, it's still going to be over 80 degrees outside. So I can put these in the proof oven or outside in the patio, cover it with a towel, and get these things coming to life. So this is what we got, and what we'll do, let these guys grow a little bit and come up to size, and then what we'll do is get them into our baking soda water, and we'll show you all that when we come back. Alright, here we are. We've had the pretzel dough in the oven at proofing, and we've got these guys here all proofed up. They were in about an hour and a half. So that gives you an idea. We've got our water just at a slow simmer that we've got the baking soda in. We've got our cheese sauce here, and we've got it going here. And I will tell you, when I poured this out of the blender, it was pretty liquidy, but I knew that I had the tapioca starch in there, so that when that heated up, that it was going to, you know, thicken up and just become a little more elastic. So this has been on here, just came up to a bare simmer, did not boil, just right below that in order to just get hot enough to get thickened up. Right now it's on my lowest setting, just to keep it warm for whenever we're getting ready to plate up. So we've got our simmering water here. I'll talk a little bit more about what else we did in here in a second. I want to kind of get some of these guys in the water, and they're only going to take 30 seconds or so on each side to get going in here. We'll put these 4 guys in, let them go in here a little bit, and they are floating real good. So I'm just going to let them on one side, and they're getting a little softer now. Just going to flip them around so that all the sides get good contact with the water in there. And then when we take these out, while they're still a little damp from being in here, we're going to go ahead and put our kosher salt on here. So I just want to move these guys around. Total, we're just looking for about a minute in here. Got to be careful so I don't deflate all of the rise that we've got in these guys. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and take them out with my spider here to make sure that they stay decent. And we did get some deflation there a little bit, but as they go in the oven again, we are gonna go ahead and pick up that rise again. And these were fairly a little more rigid once they had gotten dried. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and get our layer of salt on these guys. And one more over here. And I think that'll work. And I'll go ahead and get these in and get these guys on. So with the cheese, as I was mixing it up, if you remember, I had the sunflower seeds that were soaked in the beer. I had that in, plus I added another cup of beer and whipped up the sunflower seeds in order to get them, you know, completely blended in there. That still came out fairly thick, and as I added the rest of the ingredients, the nutritional yeast, the garlic, the annatto, well, the Saison. The Saison didn't give it completely the color that I wanted, so I did add about a teaspoon of powdered annatto, which basically is a yellow coloring, and it's the same thing that was in the Saison seasoning. Also, it was still a little bit thick, and so I ended up adding 1 cup of a plant-based milk. In this case, it was an oat milk, so I did add a cup of milk. And as far as the amount of tapioca starch, it ended up being 3 tablespoons. So I did add some more things, and I'll put this in writing on the video also, because it was even hard for me to remember. I had actually write down what I was adding to it just so that I wouldn't forget to let you know. And so these guys here are done also. And I've got my oven preheating at 400 degrees on convection. And for this oven in particular, when it's on convection, it is a bit warmer, or it affects in a warmer way than if it was just your regular oven. So if it's a regular oven, you're going to be up around 425. So I've got these guys here. I'm going to go ahead and get them salted up. So next, we'll just get these guys in the oven to get all brown and hopefully turn into some decent pretzels. We'll get these guys right in here, and they probably should not take very long at this high temperature, and as fluffy as those are, it might only take about 5 minutes. I will let you know exactly how long it takes, and we'll be right back showing you what we turned out. Alright, here we are. Got our pretzels out of the oven, and we've got our cheese sauce, and I'll let you know these guys only took maybe about 5 or 6 minutes in the oven. Did not take long at all. As you see, they browned up really great, and it's pretty much hard to believe we really made a transformation of pizza dough into pretzels. And I will tell you, when these guys were cooking, it smelled exactly like pretzels. I don't know why or what, whether it's the soaking in the water with a baking soda or how it affects it, but these things are pretzels. Our cheese sauce, which we went over and have a list of the ingredients in here. So here we got it, a quick cheese sauce, quick pretzels. It's Sunday, it's football day, we're ready to sit down, enjoy, have a great snack with our beer cheese and whatever you want to drink along with it. I thank you very much for joining me today. Definitely like, subscribe, hit the bell to be reminded when the next video comes out. And I appreciate you tuning in, and spread the word. You know, let your friends know that, you know, I'm doing these videos out here. Everything I'm doing is vegan friendly, but this is kind of stuff that everyone will love. And, you know, if it just took the tip from how to do pretzels and use your own real cheese, that's up to you. I'm just here showing you some different ideas and different ways to do it. And like I've said before, I'm not giving exact recipes on how to do things. I'm giving you ideas and ways to approach it, and you guys can make it your own, make it how you like it, and enjoy. Once again, thanks a lot for tuning in. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and I'm gonna get into one of these. These things look wonderful. And look at the cheese sauce there. I'm gonna go here in Pretzels. Yeah, we got pretzels. Thanks, we'll see you later.